Hello and welcome back to a perfect game of Pachacuti, now getting into the exploration age. We were the talk of the town in the last age because we were left to our own devices, made a whole settlement empire to ourselves, made a whole bunch of wonders, and a few envious enemies along the way. In this age, we plan to play as Hawaii because, to be honest, I don't really get the chance to play Hawaii very often. They are quite awkward in their requirements outside of playing as Jose Rizal. Because you need to have small settlement island type places. But in this game, because it was an archipelago map, we had plenty of opportunity of doing that. So I figured, why not marry the two together while we have the opportunity? Let's play as Hawaii. And Hawaii are really interesting, you know. They have some really cool specialist units. I believe they have the Kahuna, which is a religious unit that can also heal military units. And you know, religious units can't get interfered with in combat with military units. They can't kill your Kahuna. So it's basically a beacon of just salvation to any military you might have fending off of our near neighbors trying to fight us. So I figured that would be a really cool way of making the most of all the threats that were coming us from Schalman and, you know, Friedrich and all the others. In this age, of course, we're going to have to try and figure out how to get treasure fleets. Now, there should be a lot of opportunities. Both sides we have access to from our mainland home, and you know, like, if we can just get a few reasonable passageways to acquire those treasure fleets, we should be on course for continuing our perfect run. And of course, we may very well find some new friends or adversaries to contend with. Join us as we proceed with this epic game. So here we are in Exploration Age, here with Hawaii. We need to make sure that we're beelining for our tech to go for economic treasure fleets and exploring the surrounding oceans, and piety, of course, to get our religion with hopefully icon belief and getting the relics that we want to get. Let's have a look at our legacy paths for this particular age. That long banner is gone. We can finally talk about it. So, fealty. The equivalent to the monumentality golden age in Civ 6 that I really enjoyed using. I would say fealty is the closest to it and really helps half our overhang with being so many settlements that we have in order to have got the military victory legacy path from last age. In addition, we'll get a militaristic attribute point. We obviously built a lot of wonders, and I'd much rather not pick something that reduces our settlement limit or this. I always tend to go for this. And then, of course, diplomatic attribute points with all the influence and getting all the this age's independence to our side is going to be very important. We want to keep our cities as they were from the previous age, and we probably want to take an attribute point. We didn't really do anything with the merchantry in the last age. And then we're going to want to get the science boosted as much as possible so that we can beeline to those treasure fleets. And a scientific attribute point probably really helps. And unfortunately, this change capital thing, when you reload, is really obnoxious. Because there's actually something I'm about to show you in the next part that is involving this. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to show it right now because I have no idea what these options are. I don't even know if these options do anything. Can we even find any details if we go over here? No, we can't hover over this and find any information. It's just a load of nonsense. Still turn 1, but we've progressed some things like legacy paths. And the thing I wanted to show you was when Lahaina becomes Phaistos, which was the city-state that we had acquired and incorporated from the last age, you will see, very strangely, and I have no idea why, I don't know if anyone else has come across this bug, or even if it's fixed since I played this game, our very capital, like, you know, the center of it, you know, in the third age, it's from where you need to make the rail stations connect to, because it's literally the nucleus of our entire empire. Or in this age, you would think with the merchants and the roads that you make, the nucleus of our empire. Our capital somehow is currently listed as not being connected to our empire's trade network. the very capital, where everything begins and is connected to, is not connected. And therefore, these things, Lahaina, that's the actual land, that's somewhere else. Lahaina, that's Khan somewhere else, that's Tikal. But like, what on earth is this bond? This is something very unique to this game. I haven't encountered it in any of my other games. Maybe I haven't tried suzeraning and then making the Suze incorporated city-state the capital for the next age before or since. Let me know what you think about this, because I'm not even entirely sure how I solved it, but I know it doesn't last very long. It's just something I wanted to show you guys. Hello there, it's turn 6. We have indeed studied piety. Let's go buy our temple. Plus 14. Oh, in the really high density wonder tile. I don't want that. We'll put that there. And let's have a look at it. Let's go with our usual choices. Icons is indeed available, so we'll definitely pick that, and Shrines of Kami. So that's my first preferential pick. There have been some games where I haven't been able to do that, and there will be an interesting talking point for those situations. But for now, we'll just take our icons and be happy about it. Sacred hymns, belief spreads rapidly through the populace, although beyond Pachacuti's borders, many are reluctant to hear the sermons of his priests. Great sermon. Their lands will soon be his, nonetheless. They will free to practice what they wish, capture a settlement that does not follow your founding religion, or must follow the same beliefs for culture. Now, I mean, when it comes to the culture tree and the exploration age, what I tend to like to do is make sure that I get piety. Because I got piety, I also want to make sure that I can get to settlement limits, as well as getting bonus relics. So even though I don't ever expect to get House of Wisdom and Hail of Kaya, or however pronounced that, Kiwa, I don't know, are always taken most of the time by AI, or deity especially. So I rarely bother to even try getting these wonders, but the settlement limit is usually what I want. So I tend to beeline this. Sometimes I want to get the merchant early, especially if I'm concerned about a friendship, or I have a nearby neighbor I want to try and sweet talk into not going to war with me, or whatever. Maybe, but usually it's going like that. Then we go like this. So what I'm saying is, I'm not that concerned about my culture. We are generating over 100, so this isn't even a turn's worth. All I'm saying is basically I'd pick this. Expansionist points are like my least interested attribute points. I usually don't care. But if by any hook or crook we end up getting a few, then we might be able to beeline to this settlement limit. That would be useful. I do care about my settlement limit. I do think it is important. Only 11 turns in, I'm pleased to say we've already found a real nice location for our first distant land settlement. Going here will allow us access to the sugar, spices, and 2 chocolates for a +4 treasure fleets once we research it. We need to go over here to try and get ourselves a curio, and we have a cog down here exploring further for our other potential settlement locations. This looks like a good decent bit of land we can make use of as well. We have ourselves our first wonder for the age, the Serpent Mound, which, you know, +4 influence. I do like that influence. We have 78 per turn though. We're already hoarding 637, so probably going to want to be +3 science and +2 production to all unique improvements in this settlement must be placed in grassland, and that's the big deal. Finding a place, one of your cities that actually has grassland, may not always be available. It's usually either have access to grassland or tropical, and if you don't have access to what you need, then this wonder tends not to be available. But otherwise, it's relatively free. The AI doesn't tend to go for it too heavily. It's not like Hail of Kiwa or, you know, House of Wisdom or something like that. But it's not bad. I'm not usually the one to make the most of it, because unique improvements in the settlement, I tend not to do too many unique improvements. But you definitely probably could make more use of it if you did. You know, I'm happy to get it.
Our creators sang to us in the wind and the running water, in the bird songs, in the children's laughter, and taught us music.
Tortoise music. What kind of music is tortoise music? Anyway. Yeah, there it is. Look, it's about to be nice. There we go. Very wiggly. You know, we're always looking to try and make wonders in each of our city settlements because with the cultural attribute bonuses that we can get, we can beeline for what we need with the settlement limits and everything that much quicker. We have found more land to settle on. It's not got any treasure fleet resources particularly, but it's a nice bunch of land, and we do want to have 6 settlements, preferably, in distant lands so that we can give them all our religion, get the 12 points that we need for the military victories. See, we're already on 1 because of the settlement we have above us, the +4. That's going to be more towards actually getting the bulk of our economic done. And we have here a lovely place to settle right in the center of this land. However, there is indeed a wreckage, and we want to make use of that wreckage. And we have a settler to do it. And settlers can indeed pick up, in this game compared to Civ 6, more units can pick up Goodie huts than they did before. I think in Civ 6 you couldn't pick up with like religious units and such. Even them in Civ 7 you can. But the point is, I want to show you that if you wish to take a wreckage or any other ruin, Goodie hut type situation like this, you must not settle, and it's not just you, it's anyone, before accessing it, or it will just disappear. You won't get any benefit, it won't have counted towards you acquiring it, acquisitioning it because it's in your territory or anything. Nope, it will just delete. And honestly, I think that's a bit strange. If it's your own place, how come you haven't then added it to the benefit of your empire, right? This tile is now ours. But why isn't the wreckage on it also not ours? But, you know, if we were to settle here, it just disappears. This is an expansionist attribute point, which is separate to, you know, the choice and the blurb that you would get normally with the kind of wreckage. So pay a little mind to that, though it is nice we got it. And hey, that is again towards our have 4 settlements in distant lands, and this may be one of those rare games where we do actually make it to that settlement limit increase, which will be very handy indeed. But the point is, you see how, aside from that, if we look at our tool wheel here, we don't have any alert for this wreckage. It has simply disappeared. However, so here we are, we've reloaded the game, we've reset the stage, and we have our settler here to take this curio, and you'll see that it's very different to before. So now we can actually have a blurb to read. A raging fire has dimmed to embers, but the camp's remaining contents still smolder. Supplies lie smoking along one side of the wreckage, and the other, a crate of unknown text. And of course, I want the science. Can you join us back midway through this exploration game here with Pachacuti, with Hawaii? We've made our kahunas. We're getting overrun with other people's religions. We've found everybody in the game, and we're about to do Ready Zedi Door as our Shvedagon Zedi Door Wonder over here, the bell-looking thing like on top of a reception desk. Will be made. It will give us +4 science, +2 science on all rural tiles in the settlement that have at least 1 happiness, +1 a wildcard attribute point. That might be the nicest part. Ageless and must be placed adjacent to a massive lake of 6 tile. 4 turns away from shipbuilding, so you know we're getting there. Halfway in the settlement thing. Things are in process. Now let's have a look at that wonder.
I teach only suffering and the end of suffering.
Thank you, Buddha, for your gracious teachings. We will use them to make a bell. I mean, a Zwedagon Zedi Door, and proceed with our exploration game. As our very first treasure fleet makes its way home, we'll have a look at our new city-state we've just Suzed. And it is all the way here in Kiev. This could well be a good place to incorporate some city-states and maybe make a settlement or 2. It's got enough land going for it, and of course, we've got some treasure resources here too. if I care about getting the Corsair ever. It might be useful. But I think I'll just take the longbow for now. I don't know. It might be our last opportunity for a military one. If I ever have a game with that, I'll be sure to show it. The die has been cast, the curtains have been unfurled. We are at war, ladies and gentlemen, but our teams have been equally matched. We have befriended and allied with every single one of our distant allies off to the far reaches of the globe, whereas in typical fashion, even Benny has decided to conspire against us. In the meantime of all that, I would like to say that I really do enjoy sandbagging the treasure fleet so that we don't have to worry about the age progression so much. So let's park this one in. We get ourselves a nice fort, and you can see that we have 1 point short of triggering the first threshold. So I also very much like making sure that I have different bays, as it were, if you were to call this such, for different treasure fleets, especially of different values. This is why this particular ship, coming from Pearl City over here, is heading all the way, and the same in this one. Unless this is not mine. Yes, it is. Okay. Some of the colors are similar. To be kind of like parked here, so that I know how much I have and how close I am to achieving what I need with the legacy paths. This is quite crucial, of course, because we are only 2% off the crisis. It's not just the end of the age that one needs to worry about, of course, it's also the crises. You know, crises can cause a whole manner of problems, plagues in your settlements all of a sudden, or unhappiness and revolts, and all of a sudden your buildings that are essential to make these treasure fleets are either pillaged, or the city is, you know, damaged because of plague or whatever, and you are rendered relatively, you know, incapable of continuing your actions. So I find it very important to try and extend, even outside of just the end of the age itself, to make the most out of the more promising periods in the beginning of the age. Welcome to the last turn, and you might be wondering, well, it's only 72%. What are you talking about? Well, we have 2 points of relics for the culture. We have a whole bunch of points to get for the economic. We have 1 more military point, and we are done with science. Let's see how we do, shall we? Each of these treasure fleets, of which are 5 right here, is 4 points each, for a grand total of 20 points. So we can continue that. Plus 4 treasure fleet point. Plus 4. There's another one. Plus 4 again. And then combined with this, oh, that's the galleon. With this treasure fleet, they look very similar, by the way, galleon symbol and the treasure fleet symbol. We have indeed completed the economic. Now, for culture, we already have plenty from all those city-states, like I say, relics, but we have 2 to fill in. That indeed is the culture complete, so the economic complete. All left is military, and we have ourselves one of our plenty distant lands settlements all the way over here in Hastinges, which I don't think was ours initially, but we were able to get it through a peace deal. And we convert that, and there it is! Culture, economic, military, and science all complete, and all of a sudden, look at that, from 72% to 100. Basically, the entire crisis has been averted. Exploration age has come to an end!
The Hawaiians knew the horizon was not a barrier, but an invitation. With this ambition, they seized the world.
I do like how these beautiful pictures get panned out from like a living sort of video, kind of like moving picture, through to what I like to use for our thumbnails for these videos. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it, to subscribe to the channel, maybe comment below. As you can see, we're continuing our perfect score throughout the games that we play here. And if you want to learn more, this is the place to do it. Till then, all the best. Have a good one.